Kia ora. It's the 2nd of August and we're sort of between Rangiora and Oxford doing a house sit at the moment. But I just thought I'd give everyone a quick update on the car that we have upgraded to. We hope we've upgraded to it from the old Pajero Sport, which is now for sale. And I just wanted to give a quick couple of comments about why we did this and what we've upgraded to, why we chose this car. So it's the Canon Ultra from GWM. So it's a full-size ute, and the reason we upgraded to this, so firstly, of course, there's a statistical reason and a legal reason. On the Pajero Sport, we're maxing out on the weight, the GVM of the car, which was 2775. We're pretty much there or slightly over, and the caravan is full. And caravan may be slightly over, so we needed to move some stuff out of the caravan. We couldn't put it in the car, even with just the two of us in the car. Because we travel full time, we have a lot of stuff. And so we're maxing out our weights. The Pajero Sport tows banjo brilliantly. It's just a couple of hills we won't do just because they're just too scary. The Otera Gorge at 16% inclines. We haven't tackled the Taikaka Hill, thinking about it. But all the upgrades we've done on the Pajero Sport meant that it towed beautifully. We never had any sway. It handled the load really well. It was a really good car. But it just didn't have the right sort of weight limits because it's an SUV and it was only rated to 3.1 tons of towing. So we needed to upgrade the amount of available weight to us in the car that we were traveling in that was pulling the caravan, so we could move some stuff out of the caravan. And the only alternatives really was a ute. None of the SUVs had enough payload, so we needed just under a ton, or about a ton of payload. And there's only a couple of cars that give that to you. Obviously there's the top of the range vehicles that everybody owns, which are the Rangers and the Toyotas, you know, starting at sort of 70 grand or whatever they are upwards. The Mitsubishi Triton was another option that we looked at that started at about 60 to 65 fully loaded. But there's sort of, the Chinese cars have been catching up really quickly. They now seem to have the quality and the reliability mostly sussed, especially GWM brand, which is taking off big time in Australia, and I think it's going to do the same thing here. So for retail of about $44,000, there's the Canon Ultra, brand new, which is the version of the car that we have here. It has lots of electronic goodies in it, but it has a GCM of 6.2 tons, which as opposed to the 5.5 tons which the Pajero Sport has. So it's an extra almost 700 kilos of overall car and caravan payload. It doesn't quite work like that, but I'll explain that in a minute. So it gave us this massive amount of upgrade on the overall package, towing package, but also the GVM, which is the weight of the total weight that the car can be, is 3,225 kilos, as opposed to 2,775 kilos on the Pajero Sport. And that's really the key thing, because it's going to give us extra weight in the car to move some stuff out of the caravan, take some weight out of the caravan, but also means we can now have a passenger pickup hitcher, because all the stuff we do when we don't have the caravan, we can actually do it while we're still towing, because we won't be overweight. Because it's a 6,200 kilo GCM, or it's also known as a GCW, gross combined weight, as opposed to gross combined mass, which is how the NZTA and the law in New Zealand describes it, as a gross combined weight. Because it's over 6,000 kilos, you have to have a Class 2 license, which is what I've done. Because potentially you can be towing, your combined car and trailer can be over 6 tons, potentially, so you need a license in case you do that. It's not the weight that you have, it's the weight that you can have, is what the legal, what the law says. So you have to have a Class 2 license for that. The other things about this ute, it's a reasonably big car, so it's another 100 kilos heavier than the car we have, which means when we transfer some weight, the car and the caravan will be much closer in terms of weight, which is much safer to tow, obviously. Has a bigger, longer wheelbase, and it's a wider car, so much more stable if we get into a dicey situation. We have had a couple of big divots in roads in New Zealand that have been a little concerning, because the Pajero Sport is quite a lot smaller than the Caravan and a lot smaller than this car. And the car and the van has wagged the car a little bit on those occasions, and it's not very pleasant. So this should reduce some of that. Also, the storage is obviously a big thing for us. We have an extra 50 centimeters of storage space in the back, because this is 5.5 meters long as opposed to 5 meters on the Pajero Sport, and we get the whole of this canopy. So we have a lot of height, probably more height than we had in the Pajero Sport, but we also have much more storage space, and it's better for storing things like our generator and things that are smelly. There's water dripping down. I've just washed it because we've got it quite dirty on some dirt roads, so it's just dripping down off the canopy rear window. But we can put petrol generators and things in here and not worry about the smell, because we were putting that in the Pajero Sport before, and the Pajero Sport smells of fuel, which isn't as much fun as you think. So that's one of the things we liked about this car. We also managed to get it a really good deal from CMG Motors in Christchurch, which is the Cochrane MG motor group, I guess. I think they're called, or Euromark as they're known down here. A salesman called Jake. Ask for him if you want to have a look at one of these. He's really cool and he'll sort you out. So inside there's a few other advantages as well. It's a much bigger cabin, so we've got a lot more space in here, because it's about 30, I can't remember how much wider it is, 10 to 20 centimeters wider than the Pajero Sport, something like that. I'll put the stats on the info of the video. It has a lot of electronics in here. There's one of the things we really loved about the Pajero Sport was the heated seats. So we've retained that in this version. There is a cheaper version of this car which doesn't have the heated and cooled seats. This also has cooled seats, so air conditioning in the bottom of the seat, which is a little bit freaky. The first time you use it, feels like you wet yourself. But there's nice cool air coming up towards one of the outer planets of the solar system. And other things that are good, it has a much bigger infotainment screen. I'll turn that on so you can see it.
Government, of course, has moved to
just turn the radio down. It's got wireless CarPlay, which is brilliant. So you just jump in the car and everything's connected. It's got wireless charging down here. One of the drawbacks, there are a few drawbacks in this thing as well, but I'll come to those in a moment. But one of the main drawbacks is the driver information screen in front of the steering wheel. And in bright light, it's a little bit hard to see some of the stuff on it. So the middle bit is digital, but the outside bit, they're fixed illuminated images, if you know what I mean. So when you get sunlight on them, you can actually see all the engine warnings and all the other signs there. So and it's hard to see the fuel indicator occasionally. It's not terrible, it's just a little irritating. Other cool things that this car has, it has a USB port for a dash cam built into the rear view mirror. It has a sunroof. That may be just a source of leak at some point in the future, but it's got a 7-year warranty, so we don't really worry about that. That's another great thing about these cars. It's unlimited kilometers, 7-year warranty. So it doesn't matter how far you go, as long as you do the servicing. Yeah, the seats are really comfortable. They're sort of, I guess it's pleather with leather highlights. The back seats aren't too bad, I've been told. I've sat in them once and it was fine. They're not as upright as some utes, so not super uncomfortable, but none of these utes have comfortable back seats. The middle seat is uncomfortable, as it is in any ute. Has very cool gear lever. It has paddles, so for doing gear braking on steep hills, that's still available, and that's one of the key things I was looking for in the car. It has a lot of technology. There's a rear wheel drive only mode, which is called eco mode, and then the rest of the time in normal mode and sport mode, which is just has a lower gear ratio, or a higher gear ratio. I can't remember which way it goes, but anyway, it takes off a bit faster in sport mode. But normal mode and sport mode, it's all-wheel, four-wheel drive like it is in the Pajero Sport, and that was one of the key things we needed to keep when we changed cars as well. Some of the downsides, it's a Chinese brand, so resale value would be a little bit interesting. So we had to make a decision based on keeping this car for a long time, because there's still a thing about Chinese cars, even though I think they're going to be some of the biggest brands in the world in a couple of years, because the quality has taken leaps and bounds forward, and the motors and the gearboxes and stuff, they're really sort of catching up with the market leaders in this sector, in the ute sector. All these modern cars have a lot of safety technology in them. Luckily, this one doesn't have the driver attention stuff that the Tritons that we tried did, and they've sort of fixed that a little bit on the new generation Tritons, so it's not as intrusive. It was every 3 seconds, it's now every 9 seconds, so that actually made it okay in the Triton. But this doesn't have that, but what it does have is every time you turn the car on, you have to, if I turn the car on, actually, let's do that. There's technology you have to turn off. So, which is the main one is the lane assist. So you have to go to lane assist, turn that off, confirm. And you can't save that as a setting every time you turn the car on. And that's a little bit annoying, but that's the only thing. The lane assist is fine unless you're going relatively fast, and then it becomes quite aggressive, and that's just the emergency lane assist. That's not the normal lane assist. There is a lane assist setting. It has LiDAR controlled cruise control. You could almost sit here and read a book and drive this car if you wanted to, because it will stay in a lane on a motorway, and it will stay at the speed and remain behind the car in front of you without running into it. So it has all that tech built into it. When you turn the car on, unless you put your seatbelt on, it won't do anything. So when you're hitching up and things, and you're getting in and out of the car, and moving the caravan around and stuff like that, that's going to get a little painful. I'm going to have to put the seatbelt on every time I want to maneuver or do anything like that. The other problem is if we go to the rear view camera, it's kind of hard to tell because I'm not in front of the caravan. It doesn't point down, it points straight out. So what I'm going to have to do, I'll post a little picture of what I'm going to have to do. I have to strap a tilt on the tailgate of the ute so that I can see the tow ball when I'm hitching up, basically. It's not a biggie, and they're just some little things that, you know, it's about a $20,000 to $40,000 difference between this car and the market leaders at the moment, so it's probably worth putting up with those things. And I just thought of something else. The one other thing is the fuel filler. It's not big enough for a truck stop fuel nozzle, and it's bizarre because the Pajero Sport is big enough for a truck stop fuel nozzle, but this isn't. It has a little, I'll show you, it has a little thing in the way. That means you can't put the truck stop fuel nozzle, the big ones, all the way into the nozzle. So when you're filling, you have to obviously go slower. I'll just open that. And when you get to the end, it won't trigger the auto stop on the filler because it's too far out. So I don't know if you can see that. So this thing here, I don't know why it's so small. It doesn't need to be, and I'm trying to find a way. I don't know if this whole piece can come out and can be replaced, or it's just a little thing that's a little bit painful. It doesn't require AdBlue, this car, because it's Euro 5. Next year, I'm guessing they will be. I think all utes have to be Euro 6 next year. AdBlue's not a big deal, although I did hear a story about someone with a brand new Toyota Prado, who was putting AdBlue into the two fillers on their truck, onto the AdBlue one, and then just moved from the AdBlue nozzle, put the AdBlue nozzle into the diesel nozzle with the trigger pulled before they realized and pulled it out. So they put AdBlue into the diesel tank and had to replace the whole diesel tank on a brand new car, and it was thousands of dollars. So don't have that to worry about, I guess, which is good. So far the canopy's been good. It's from Fully Equipped via CMG Motors, organised it for us. We looked at aluminium options, but we thought it was easier just to do the CMG GWM New Zealand install of the canopy. Then it's all with the same people. If there's a problem with that, we go back to the same place as we do with anything to do with the car. The only upgrades we've done are the canopy. We've put on all-terrain tyres. We've gone for Hankook ones this time because they were significantly cheaper than the jewelers. There may be a reason for that, and we may regret it at some point. But they have quite a good reputation, and the longevity is not as good as like a Bridgestone jeweler, but it's still pretty great according to the specs and reviews online. And we've got some electrics to do. So it only comes with 7-pin electrics. And on the Banjo, on the Snow River caravans, you need a 12-pin is better because we want to be able to charge the breakaway cable, and we also need to add an Anderson to send power to our DC-DC charger. So that's happening on Monday. We're also going to put a 12-volt accessory port in the tray of the ute because we have a tyre monitoring system that needs a Bluetooth extender to get all the way to the back of the caravan, and this car's even longer than the Pajero Sport, so that's even more necessary. So those are the main things, I think. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. So I explained the reason for the Class 2 license, the law around the gross combined weight or gross combined mass. If potentially you can tow over 6 tons, you have to have a Class 2 license to tow over 6 tons. If you're driving, you have an accident, I don't know what the deal is. Don't hear about a lot of people getting insurance cancelled because they don't have the Class 2 license, even though they're driving one of these and towing something, but they could. So that's why we did it. We want to be well within our terms and conditions on our insurance and legally as well. Some of the guys on the course I was on, they were driving trucks that were GCM or GCW over 6 tons, but their truck was under 3.5 while they were driving it. They've been pulled over and told by the police, you need to get a Class 2 license. They haven't been fined, but the police said all that stuff is going to come. So it's worth doing it. The Class 2 license was easy. Went to a place called Can Drive in Rangiora, and they're absolutely brilliant, so I'd recommend that as a good place to go. Anyway, leave any questions below and flick me any messages. If you have any questions or you want to direct message me, feel free to do that as well on Facebook. I'll see you later. Just one last thing. That was just a review of the car. We haven't towed, we test towed the car with the caravan when we were looking at all the options, Tritons and everything originally, and it towed really well over a short tow around Christchurch City. But I'll do a full review about how that works out for us in the real world over the mountain passes and all that kind of stuff. And probably in a couple of months, once we've done that for a little bit. The reviews that we've seen is that it pulls really well, and a lot of people pulling 3-ton caravans like ours around Australia for a long time and over big hills and stuff. So it should be fine, but we'll do a separate review for that. And as I said before, if you have any questions, just flick us a message and I'll try and answer them for you. Hope that wasn't too confusing. Thanks for watching. Bye.